Wyoming. You've missed a lot. And I'm gonna do a little Glee style, here's what you missed on Glee. I'm not gonna do it right now, but I'm gonna do that and include what we did in Montana because Montana was pretty incredible. Hi guys, what's up? I'm home, I am back, and I'm gonna tell you about the trip, about what we did in Montana because obviously didn't film, and I'm gonna do it really quickly. So let me pull up my notes. I'm gonna show you some pictures along the way. Okay, so picking up where we left off, we traveled to Spokane, Washington, where we stayed at a little KOA. So here's a picture of me in the bathroom. That was my first KOA shower in Spokane, Washington. And then after Spokane, then we drove a couple of hours towards Babb, Montana. And this is where all the cool stuff happened because we were in between the Blackfeet Indian Reservation and Glacier National Park. And this was a very, very cool spot. So we were there for like 2 days, but the first day we were there, Colby was driving around and we were trying to find a restaurant and he couldn't find it and he was getting mad and we were having a bad moment. Then we stopped at this like overlook. Here's us when we were stopped. That's my feet in the back of the bus. But we were not talking to each other. We were frustrated. And then Colby gets out of the car and he gets on the phone. And then a random person drives up in the car. And I was really freaked out about this because it sounded like the beginning of a horror movie. Traveling solo as a woman is kind of coined as a dangerous thing to do. And I wasn't alone. I had Colby, but I was still very nervous. First, I want to know that I was in the van like all by myself when Colby was like standing outside. So this guy starts talking to Colby outside and I'm like, oh my gosh, am I gonna have to defend him? Am I gonna have to hop out with like my pepper spray? Am I gonna have to like beat this person up? Who knows? They're talking for 30 minutes and I'm like, what in the world are these people talking about? They must have something in common. There must be something going on. And turns out this man, middle of Montana, middle of nowhere. We were like an hour away from the nearest city, which was really just like gas station, grocery store, maybe like a restaurant or something. And so it was really just like bare space. This man ended up being one of Colby's best friends from college's dad. Now let me put this in perspective. Colby goes to college in Colorado. He goes to Colorado College. We were in Babb, Montana, which is this far away from each other on the map. It was such a small world moment. So they were talking and talking and talking. And then he comes back to the van and he's like, we're going to breakfast with that man in the morning. And I was like, we're doing what? And then he told me that it was his friend's dad. And so I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's go to breakfast in the morning with him. So I'm gonna show you pictures. This man's name is Jack Gladstone. And what a human. I don't know if Jack Gladstone will ever see this. He doesn't know that I was making a video because obviously I wasn't filming when we were with him, but I took a lot of pictures. He built his own house. He composts and is completely sustainable. His land goes right up to this little, like this area of water. And it is the most beautiful place that I've ever seen because it's the water and then you look up at the mountains and it is gorgeous. So he made us breakfast and he made us like this crazy 12-egg omelet with freshly slaughtered pork and caramelized onions. It was terrific. Oh, and then it was also, I think there was cheddar cheese in it. Yeah, there's cheese in it. And then these waffles, which holy moly, he said that he had soaked oats overnight and softened them up and then put those in the batter with granola and raisins. And wow, so good. And then there's Colby at his house. There's the breakfast. This was raw honey from Chief Mountain, and that was our dining room table. And this was his backyard. Look at how beautiful. And this is his outhouse. Whenever you had to go potty, you had to go cover up your potty with sawdust. So that was very fun. And there's Colby and Jack Gladstone standing in his backyard. And there's his backyard. There's his, this looks like a stock photo. So after that, we hung out with him for a while and we actually went up to the border of Canada. Here's the border. It looks like a monument, but it's just kind of the landmark. And there's Jack. And he's actually a singer-songwriter and he has some specials on PBS and he's pretty well known. So I'm gonna link Jack Gladstone's music as well as his PBS documentary down below. Please go check out Jack Gladstone because he was the most generous and kind person in the world to us. After we were with Jack Gladstone, we traveled a little bit through Montana. We went to some random places. We went climbing again. I did not climb, did not want to, was not very interested in it. And then we get to Jackson Hole. So, Montana was cool. It was definitely kind of in the middle of nowhere. There was a lot of time where we didn't have service. That was kind of the majority of that time. And it's funny because Wyoming is known for being the most sparse state. But because we stayed in Jackson Hole, I didn't really notice that about Wyoming. I noticed that more about Montana. Montana was very sparse and everything was extremely spread out. I guess my takeaway from Montana and kind of this trip in general, but very much so Montana, is I understand what the chicks meant by wide open spaces. We are currently in Jackson, Wyoming, and we've been here for 2 days now. Now we are on the way to climb again. We are about to enter the Teton National Forest. So we're gonna go, so that's our van, and we're gonna walk up a trail on the side of this little mountainy hill. But I keep telling Colby I wanna like sit by water. I have this like fixation on water whenever I'm like in nature and stuff. The way that I interact with nature, I feel like everyone interacts differently. Like Colby is an alpine climber, which means that he climbs on snowy mountains. He summited Mount Whitney in California, and he also summited Mount Rainier in Washington last week. How's this one going?
It's good. Now that I figured it out.
This looks like a water bottle commercial. So we just switched pitches. We kind of came to the other side of the rock. This one was pretty intense. That first route took Colby a while, but he like absolutely crushed it because he had to go over this big like bulge of rock. It was very scary, especially scary from the bottom. Happy that I am on the ground, but we're gonna do one more and then we're probably gonna try and find a cool restaurant for a late lunch.
Told you, it's 1 o'clock.
Okay, it's 9:32 p.m. and we are in the RV camper park. Anyway, I realized because my mom, hey Sean, hey mom. My mom texted me and was like, you need to do a tour of the van because she's quite clueless on kind of the space that we're working with, and I thought this would be a perfect time to do just a little walk around. There's not much space to walk around, but I will be happy to show you guys what it looks like. A spin around, a little. Okay, So I'm currently standing in the second row, but this is the front seat. All of our stuff is here. This is where we put it when we sleep. So that's our like book bags and everything. There's the steering wheel. There's our pizza boxes from last night. There are covers for the windows when we sleep. And so that is the front. There's a lot of leg room. You can actually turn the seats completely around. Okay, and then we come back and here's a little study nook. It kind of looks like an airplane seat. So here's Colby and his nightly routine. We always watch some TV shows or a documentary or something. And there's a seat, and then there's overhead storage, as well as behind the driver. This is where a lot of the controls are. This is where you lower the bed. And then you turn over here. All of my stuff is like ready for bed right there. But this is where the sink is. But there's our little sink. So this is that, and then all of my stuff is on top of our induction stove. I've cooked on this once. And then up here, this is where we keep some random stuff, peanuts, trash bags, green beans. And then right below me, as you can see, so this is our fridge, and it actually locks when we're moving, and then we have 3 things of storage. So here's a look of that little second spot. And then my favorite, this is the bathroom. Stuff moves sometimes whenever we're driving, but we've made it all work. It all is good. It is a toilet, and that's all we really need. And then we get to the back. So this is where, so this is the bed, it lowers. But this is where we keep a lot of storage. We are still in Jackson Hole, and we're gonna go get some coffee for the day, and then we're gonna drive like 7 hours to Estes Park, Colorado, which is in Rocky Mountain National Park, and that is where we're gonna stay the night. But for right now, I'm eating breakfast. I think Colby's getting up, and we're gonna start working on getting some coffee and going to Colorado. Now we are out. We are headed towards Colorado. We're gonna drive through Grand Teton
to see the titties.
To see the boobs. Because Teton means boobs. And then we are in Colorado. The next thing you know, we'll be 7 hours later, and we'll be in Colorado.
Grand titties.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't need no